Hi, my name is Jeff Pagano, and welcome to the Harpin on Rugby preview show. Joining me to look ahead to Stephen's Day Kosh down in Thomond Park is someone earning his 40th Harpin cap. Welcome back to Mr. Neil Keego Keegan.
Wow, we're nearly a cap for a year now. Great to see you. Happy Christmas to you and yours.
And to you, sir. Good to see you. Now, of course, there's been a lot happening in the rugby sphere this week, but we could go, we could spend all day going through them all. But just before we get to the preview, we're going to have a quick word on just two things. First, there was the sad news of James Tracy being forced into an early retirement through injury.
Yeah, I'm gutted for the lads because when we sit down in a couple of years and look through the evolution of certain positions, you look at what Mike Ross did in the front row, you look at what Tracy did at hooker as well, keeping everything ticking over while we were waiting for, without talking down his accomplishments, waiting for Sheehan and Callagher and these kind of guys to come through. I do think he was undervalued, but he's got a decent trophy cabinet. He leaves healthy. And it is a good sign that these things are picked up and he will be healthy for the rest of his life. That's the name of the game. But I am gutted for the lad. There was a lot of gas left in that tank. So it's a coffee, but cheers, James.
Yep, definitely. It was, and it just, we've kind of had two like world-class hookers fall into our lap there the last couple of years. And we've all of a sudden, we've just taken for granted the pair of them for Leinster and Ireland, but we forget that it was like 5 minutes ago. We were doing really well with Sean Cronin and James Tracy, and just the two of them, the two of them are gone now. It was kind of, the signs weren't good now when he did get injured back in April, when we called up not one but two hookers to replace him. I think it kind of looked, it was going that way as well. But of course, we wish him all the best for the future. And it was sad news indeed. Okay, so listen, now we're going to move along, and we're just going to have a quick look at Leinster's season so far. We've been doing pretty well, obviously, in results wise, but there's still a lot of work to do.
There is. There were moments where we were playing, this is a reference for older people, Kevin Keegan type rugby, where you're going to score 30, but we'll score 70. And that's all well and good. It's great to watch, but there's been times where we have needed to concentrate a wee bit more on, the penalty count gets a little bit high sometimes, but obviously in the big games we've been able to control that. So I think that's a great sign. You look at the amount of players who have put on that blue jersey so far this year. We say it every week, and the way the teams and the squads have been constructed all the way through, it's been magic. We've had a couple of tough games. That comeback against Ulster that we were all at, that really helped. Going into the following week against Racing, that really helped. So there are obvious signs that we are maybe prior mistakes are being avoided. But again, it's a bit like Ireland in the quarterfinals. The demon is only exercised when we get past it. So the signs are good. The momentum is good. The squad rotation is fantastic. We're going to miss Stuart next year, but so far so good.
Absolutely. As the saying we keep hearing, nothing's won in December, and it's true. But no one's invented a time machine yet, so you can only play in the month you're in, and things are going well so far, and we're happy about that. And like I say, hopefully it moves on and we go forward. And speaking of going forward, let's move on to this week's feature match, which is, as you can see up there, is Munster v Leinster. It's in round 10 of the 22-23 BKT United Rugby Championship, and it kicks off at Thomond Park at 7:35 p.m. on Monday, December the 26th. The match can be seen on the telly box via TG Cahir, via Play, the station formerly known as Premier Sports, and of course URC.tv, where you can watch all the matches in the competition for just $6.99 per month. Now, Leinster named their starting lineup at lunchtime on Friday, so let's have a look. Starting with the back line. At fullback, there's Hugo Keenan. The wingers are James Lowe and Jordan Larmour. The centers, Jamie Osborne and Gary Ringrose, the captain. And the halfbacks are Nick McCarthy and Ross Byrne.
Yeah, look, I think I'm the unofficial Munster correspondent here for Harpin on Rugby. But no, I think without going on about it too much, I think you see Ringrose coming back anytime you see him in a pair of boots. It's worth the price of admission. I love Osborne. I think he's been a really great player for us so far this season, sitting in there right beside our captain. It's going to be great for him. The more experience he has, the better he is for us. Look, it's basically a back line ready to rock and roll. They're all well cooked. They're ready to go.
Yeah, Ross Byrne is actually been involved in every game this season so far. It's been, I mean, he quietly moves under the radar, but then of course he had that big moment against Australia as well in the green jersey. So it really has been a good season for him for the most part, and he's heavily involved in everything Leinster's done. That shouldn't be forgotten going forward, even if he's not so heavily involved at the business end of the season. But it's definitely a strong backline for sure. Now, so we'll move on to the forwards now, and in the front row we've got Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan, and Cian Healy. The second row, Ryan Baird and Joe McCarthy, and with the back row of Rhys Ruddock, Scott Penny, and Max Deegan.
Yeah, love it. Again, it's a trust in a lot of these things. We see Jenkins and Ryan as our kind of top second row, if you like, but then the two lads coming in, Ryan Baird and Joe McCarthy, it's not really a bad thing. But if you look at what they've done with the relative inexperience, they've put them beside the experience. You look at the 9 and 10 are sitting there, our 12 and 13, and the same with our second row. I think anytime Ryan Baird is in a jersey, it's a good time, and hopefully he gets a nice run at it now. Furlong obviously missing, which is always going to be a worry, but then you've got Cian Healy sitting in there. This is trust in the squad, and this is a squad where Munster are going to think this isn't the frontliners. They're taking us for granted or whatever, when in reality, technically speaking, there's no such thing as a first 15 anymore for Leinster because of the guys who are able to do it, because of the amount of guys who have medals, the amount of guys who have experience. This is another example of it here. Leaders all over the pitch. The slight inexperience are sitting right beside leaders on the pitch. It's a really great squad.
Absolutely. And talking about time machines, I mean, can you imagine going back 3 years and telling a Leinster fan that the Leinster front row playing Munster on Stevens' day would be Andrew Porter, loosehead, Dan Sheehan, and Cian Healy, tight head? They'd be going, what? So it is a bit crazy, but it's some great, it's still a great pack, whatever way you slice it up. And of course, Scott Penny and Max Deegan, the perennial try scorers in this competition as well. So hopefully they'll live up to that as well on the day. Okay, so now we move on to the bench. And as you can see there, it's John McKee, Michael Milne, Vak Abdulradze, Ross Maloney, and Jack Conan, the forwards, and the backs, Luke McGrath, Harry Byrne, and Liam Turner.
Yeah, it's a great bench. There's leaders on that bench as well, but there's a lot of relative newbies who are going to get some minutes in the boots. It's great. Every single player you've named can kick, can pass, can tackle. So that's, the skill level is very, very high all the way through this squad. And you see that since Leo and then since Stuart have come in, the skill level has increased massively. Obviously the fitness as well, but the skill level has been massively increased in the last few seasons. And you can see that all the way through 1 to 23. Without wishing to start a fight with our brothers and sisters this side of Christmas, that's not the same on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. And was talking about the players who've been ever present as well. That Ross Maloney fits that bill as well. He's been involved in all the games, and it's a great, it's a great bench as well. Plus a lot of names that we need to get some. Ed Byrne got some bad news there during the week, so it'll be important for Michael Milne to get a shift as well. And it's definitely a good bench indeed. Right, so now it's time to have a look at our opposition, which of course our Munster, as my graphics department, will put the names on the screen there at the bottom, or if you're listening to the podcast, they can be found in the program notes. There's an interesting battle, I think, in the centres, Keego, just to start off with, the Frisch against Ringer and Crowley v Osborne.
Yeah, 100%. And the trick, I guess, with Munster now is getting their foreign players on the pitch. With Crowley, Frisch, you have to fit them in somewhere while also following orders from on high to keep Joey ticking away at 10. So it's an interesting thing because, one way of thinking is you gotta put Crowley in that 10 jersey as often as you can if that's the way, but that's not the plan for right now. But Frisch is showing some serious class, to be fair to him. He isn't always getting it his own way, but he's able to make his own momentum. He's almost able to drag that midfield forward in that red jersey. And then anytime you're up against, a leader in the blue and green jersey in Ringrose and Henshaw when he's playing, that's a challenge that every professional player wants. They want to try and take a few lumps out of the opposition. And Ringrose has that relative inexperience with Jamie Osborne beside him, but Jamie Osborne is no slouch. And I think what you're going to find is he's going to be taking out Crowley as often as he can, putting him on his arse, which leaves Frisch and Ringrose in that kind of battle in the midfield. This battle is probably worth twice the price of admission on Stephen's Day.
Absolutely, and there's battles as always all over the park. You've got pretty much Munster's strongest back row there going up
Yeah.
against which we consider our maybe second string back row, which is still pretty strong, and it's going to be a good battle. They'll want to make it clear that they're not so much a second string lineup. So there's going to be a lot of the breakdown is going to be very interesting. And just one more thing on Crowley, it's like looking at their bench with Scannell at 22. It looks like the plan is for maybe Crowley to get maybe the last 20 minutes at out half, which would put him against Harry Byrne, which is interesting because I mean they're talking about Crowley now, what they were saying about Harry maybe a year and a half ago. So to see them go head to head, and especially if it's still a tight game, it would be very interesting towards the end, you know. So
Yeah, 100%. I think with that, I think Harry and Crowley, I think there's a slight injury issue. I think there's a bit of a reset with Harry, which is grand. He's a baby. He'll be fine. And I think Crowley is the one informed. So there's a lot of, as I'm talking about, kind of looking at the teams, and as I'm talking about people wanting to chase ring rows, there's a lot of that in reverse happening as well with Harry and Crowley, with Frisch and Osborne, all these kind of, and the back row specifically with O'Mahony in there, Ruddock's in there on the other side. Penny and Deegan. Coombs has to step up now and show even more form, because these are the guys chasing his jersey or chasing his spot or chasing his opportunity. So he's got to step up as well. And, Jack O'Donoghue's no slouch either. So again, the more we're talking about it, when I was coming into this chat, I was kind of going, look, skill level, all that sort of stuff, it's not a massive competition. But then when you start talking about it, you start breaking it down and you look at the big picture, it's going to be a great Stephen's Day in front of the fire with whatever turkey's left over.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the officials. Now, when they were officially announced on the URC page, I went on to it, and the first thing I read was not Frank Murphy for once. That's what it actually came up. And as you can see there's the officials. Chris Busby. It's an all-Irish delegation as well. So they're reffing the game. The weather forecast for Limerick on Monday night. Now, obviously, we're recording on Friday, so a lot can change between now and then. But at the moment, it says it's going to be cloudy with showers, bit windy, but pretty good chance of rain. So that'll affect the conditions for sure. And all that leaves us with now, sir, is prediction time. We'll start actually tonight. We've got an Interpro as we're talking. Connacht are hosting Ulster, so we'll maybe go with that one first.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my super brew up on the other page here because I actually did it this week for the provinces. But I think I am worried for Ulster, unfortunately, and I think they're kind of it takes so much to get them out of the slump they're in. It's all between the ears. It's not a skill issue. And I think Connacht are on the rise. I think they're starting to get the grey matter between the ears going. And I think Connacht are going to win. I picked Connacht by 5.
That's exactly what I had as well. So we're on the same page there. I think Connacht are definitely on the up. I think Ulster will. I think their season will get better. They've just had a really horrible run on and off the pitch, and not always their own pitch. It's just been a terrible run. But I don't think I think it will improve, but maybe not this weekend. Okay, so that just leaves the main match for us. How do you see it going on Stephen's Day?
I think there's too much in that blue jersey. Like you say every week, that opening attack is going to frighten people, or that opening defensive effort is going to frighten people. I think I have Leinster by 12.
Okay, I've gone by 7, but I might be feeling a bit luckier by the time the day comes and maybe open that out a bit. But yeah, we're both going for a Leinster win. We'll see how that works. Okay, well, listen, we're going to leave it there. Many thanks, Keego, for all that. Indeed, all of your quality contributions throughout the year. And to you, the viewers and listeners, have a great Christmas. We'll see you on the other side. Be sure to join the conversation on Mastodon throughout the match, and then maybe head over to our Facebook page at Full Time and leave your thoughts there. In the meantime, stay safe, everyone, and Noel Conor Dave.
Cheers. Happy Christmas.